This is definitely going to be a little bit longer of a video, so let's just hop right into it.
'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss,
What's up, my Nimrods? It's Gage coming back at you guys again with another dose of that fresh, never frozen Yu-Gi-Oh content. I am 1,000,000,000% thankful that you guys would spend just a couple of minutes with me here today to talk about a children's card game we both mutually enjoy so fucking much. Today we're talking Yu-Gi-Oh sets. We have had a lot of good Yu-Gi-Oh sets recently. Battle of Legends Light Revenge is a really good set. Code of the Duelist, of course, changing the game with implementing Link Monsters. Circuit Break has just been a good set, releasing Ash Blossom and Joy's Spring. But I do think there's sets that we haven't talked about for a long time that really just have stood the test of time of Yu-Gi-Oh. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about what I think is probably one of the most timeless sets in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a set that just keeps seeming to come back in relevance in some way, somehow, whether it's a card being good all of a sudden or a card that's just really always been good. I'm going to talk to you guys about a set that a lot of people either despise or love. That set is none other than Starstrike Blast. Released all the way back in November of 2010, this set is very old, but this set came with a whole bunch of gems, whether they be hidden or just flat out in pure sight. But a lot of people upon the initial release of Starstrike Blast didn't think it was that great of a set. The set is timeless though, not because of its rocky initial release, but just somehow a lot of the cards, the vast majority of these cards became playable over the course of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. And today I just want to kind of share with you guys some of the cards that saw the light of day, and it's again the majority of the set, and just kind of try to fill you in on why Starstrike Blast I think is the most timeless set of Yu-Gi-Oh! So with that being said, I'm going to take you guys over the screen, and we're going to be talking about Starstrike Blast. Let's get into it. Alright, what's up guys? We're actually taking a look at Starstrike Blast here. I have it up on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia. I'm just going to go over the set list and kind of talk to you guys about some of the major cards of this set. A lot of them were actually pretty good upon release, but this set, as I was saying in the beginning, is just so timeless. There's a lot of obscure, weird cards that just ended up being really good, and a lot of people was just like, it's another card from Starstrike Blast. So I'm just going to take a quick go down on the set list here, and we're just going to go over some of the cards that I want to talk about real quick. So the set starts off strong with cards like Swift Scarecrow, which we obviously know are pretty good cards in general, just generally pretty good cards that have been good throughout time. And some of the cards that we can point out, like Glow Up Bulb, also just really good, really impactful card just over the years. It's still a one today, still just a phenomenal card today. This was also the set that introduced Karakuri. And Karakuri, while I don't think it was actually that great upon release, there's people that Desmond Johnson really got his start. If you guys follow Team PPG at all, he got his start being the Karakuri King. Definitely one of the more pioneers of Karakuri to try to make the deck good. But the deck actually ended up being really good when Gear was released all the way way later, and Return of the Duelist is when the set dropped, and Gear on X was released, and then people played Gear Karakuri, excuse me, together, and that was a really good deck. So all the Karakuri cards in here, really, a lot of them were really good. Beret is in here, which is the Synchro level 7 guy, one of the better ones, one of the ones that would extend your combos a lot further. He was really important. Ultimate Rare, Ultra Rare at the time only, until it was reprinted in one of the collector's tins later that year. So it was hard to get your hands on if you wanted to play Gear Karakuri, all from Starstrike Blast. Materia Chariot was a pretty good card for Naturius. Back in the day, it's still one of the better cards for it. Being able to, of course, double the copies of it, just putting 2 copies on the field's okay. You don't really get into the end of the good, juicy cards until later in the list here, but we're seeing a lot of cards like already. First one I can point out is White Mare. White Mare just ended up being a really oddly good card for the Skull Servant archetype when that really picked up, when we started getting other cards released to support that archetype. We got one of them, well, I think it was White Prince, is the broken one, where it sends one from the deck for the graveyard, and people are like, White Mare's it's a pretty good card too, and it was a short print nonetheless in Starstrike Blast. Really difficult to get your hands on, and for a deck that was supposed to be relatively cheap, all the cards being in common, having a short print common was just, in Starstrike Blast of all sets again, just a little bit harder to get your hands on it. Cards like Shooting Star Dragon, cover card of the set, the Ghost Rare, obviously a very good card to get from the set. It was one of the better cards to synchro summon into when you're playing a more synchro based deck. Tuning was also released in this set, and Tuning was a card that was never reprinted for the longest time, and it actually became very difficult to get your hands on when a card like Shooting Quasar Dragon was released, which we actually had Red Nova Dragon, which was our first taste of a level 12 boss synchro monster. But when Shooting Quasar Dragon was released and synchrons really started to pick up, because you could make Shooting Quasar Dragon extremely easy in that deck, Tuning was a card that was extremely difficult to get your hands on, and it remained difficult to get your hands on until it got a reprint in the Shadow Spectre Special Edition as a super rare. But actually, when it hit that point, when it got its reprint, nobody was really playing Synchron's anymore, and the days of shooting Quasar Dragon, which was an $100 Shonen Jump promo, really kind of blew past. Formula Synchron was a really integral card of the set. Doug Zeef, I asked it before, he told me it's apparently a $10 rare when the set first dropped, which is a little bit insane. It's a card that obviously has been seen on the Forbidden and Limitless because of how just great the card is, and it being released as a rare in the set sounds pretty good. Another odd card that saw play is Mirror of the Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier's got some more support in this set. Again, they're Ice Barriers. It's not going to be a good deck. It was never a good deck. But Mirror of the Ice Barrier, oddly enough, was a card that ended up being good. When Necros of Trishula came out, and people were playing Necros, as that deck kind of lasted longer than a lot of people wanted it to, a lot of people were looking for different tech options to fight against it, and Mirror of the Ice Barrier was one that actually stood out because it was a card that countered Necros of Trishula. You can actually see Noah Green ended up playing Mirror of the Ice Barrier back in the day to counter it, and it actually worked pretty well. The card doubly punished for anything that Necros of Trishula would have did. Definitely a card that would flip around the game immediately as soon as you would resolve it. Great card, and being a common, again, another obscure card in Starstrike Blast. Heat Wave was another card that ended up being good for a little bit. I don't remember why Heat Wave was hyped. It actually never really saw any competitive play, but a lot of people wanted this card. This card actually got, I think, up to like $6, $7, or $8 or something like that. Check out probably John Moore Market Watch. I think he's got something on this. It's been actually pretty recent since this card went up, but Heat Wave was a hyped card. A lot of people thought it was going to be really good. It never really showed up, but it was another card that people thought was going to be that stuff. I always thought Gravity Collapse was kind of a neat card. It's never been a card that's hyped, but personally, I like this card a lot from Starstrike Blast. I just think Gravity Collapse, it's cool. I always think it was okay. But other cards that were actually decent is one of the more notorious cards of all time, and that's Vanity's Emptiness. Everybody knows the legacy of Vanity's Emptiness. A short print common from Starstrike Blast. This card actually reached up to around $30 at its peak. Card was very difficult to get like your hands on it, and it was an integral card in Dragon Roller format. The World Championship, this card definitely served a lot of people. It was a great card, fantastic card for as long as it was legal. A lot of people despise it just because of how it became so much better as the game progressed. When Pendulums were released, this card just became so much better, and the fact that you had to send a card to graveyard to send to graveyard became more negligent as Pendulums didn't have to go to the graveyard at all, so that was a way to circumvent it, and the card just got better and better with time. And now we see it on the Forbidden list, which is really a testament to how powerful this card was. It being a short print common, it actually didn't see play at all. I don't think anybody was talking about it at all when this set first dropped, which is incredible because of how powerful of a card it ended up being in the game. I like that a lot. Different Dimension Ground is a card that saw a lot of play too. Just a super rare that hadn't got its reprint for the longest time. I think Duelist Saga is when we finally saw its reprint, and that's like, what, a couple months ago at this point? So this card was a super rare, and it definitely would see ongoing play, on and off play, as more decks kind of revolved around graveyards. I think the most recent we saw was I think like 60 card decks when Grass was at 3. People would side deck the Different Dimension Ground, flip that up when they would play their Grass is Greener, and then just go to town from there as everything's getting banished. So Different Dimension Ground was a good tech card for the longest time. I only think it's a matter of time before it becomes good again. It's just one of those cards that's just a key playmaker and making good side deck choices. It's just a generically good card, and for the longest time we never had a reprint of it. It was only a super rare in Starstrike Blast, and it ended up being pretty pricey for most of the time. Power Sync Stone, this card's I think going to be one that I focus on overhyped history. This card was oddly, I don't even know why, you can read the effect up there. I don't know why this card was good. I guess it's kind of like people like, it's a skill drain, but not a skill drain. I don't see why this card was good. I'm gonna have to do more research on it, but this was a card that people will tell you it was overhyped. Darkfall is another card. It was originally named Dark Trap Hole. A lot of people thought when Traptrix Ophlasia was released that Dark Trap Hole, Darkfall would work with it. That's not the case, though, unfortunately. It being a short print, though, a lot of people tried to get their hands on it originally, but as soon as it got renamed into Darkfall to accompany that of the OCG translation, it saw no play. It still sees no play today. A lot of people thought it was a good answer to Pendulums with Rafflesia, but unfortunately that's not the case. Skullmeister, great secret rare card. A card that I don't think was actually that sought after when the set was first released, but it's a card that we've seen multiple times get hyped up and then drop out and then hyped up again and dropped out. I don't think it's ever actually seen any really major play, any play to really make it worthwhile or make it something super noteworthy, but it has been a card that has been on and off hyped, and now just finally, really recently, actually, I don't, like super recently, Jesus, got a reprint, but it's about time. It was a secret rare in Starstrike Blast, super hard to get your hands on, and for a lot of people it wasn't an investment really worth it. As you can see now, the card doesn't see that much play, and the short-lived play it did see was just that, extremely short-lived. Drone Lockbird, one of the more timeless hand traps, card released as a rare Starstrike and Blast, dropped on this set. Definitely we can see today this card is insane. This card has a longer legacy, definitely outlasting that of Starstrike Blast in the Synchro era. This card's just gotten better with time, and I think this is going to be one of the more timeless hand traps moving forward. This card at first initially got hyped back in, I think, Spellbook format, as when we first started to see Jewel and Lockbird getting thrown around, because people would activate maybe Secrets, Jewel and Lockbird, and then they can't activate Judgment and do anything like that, which was crazy. So Jewel and Lockbird was a sought-after card back in the day, but now more so than ever, reaching, I think it's actually like $20 now in the market. This card is one of the more timeless, one of the way better hand traps of all time. Gravekeeper's Recruiter is a card, fantastic card. This is a card that revolutionized Gravekeepers, a card that definitely kept them afloat. This card is one of probably the best card in Gravekeepers, and for the longest time it only had a rare printing until Legendary Collection Yugi's World, when we saw its first reprint in Ultra Rare, which was a harder copy to get your hands on, because Gravekeepers, I think, were just getting their little boost back. They got another counter trap and a couple other cards to try to keep them afloat. They got a Vanity's Emptiness of their own in the form of a continuous spell card, but Gravekeepers Recruiter for the longest time was just a rare, and people that wanted to play Gravekeepers, which was a good deck, still is a good deck today, I think, but which was much better deck back then. People that wanted to play Gravekeepers had to get their hands on the rare printing of Gravekeepers Recruiter. Side blocker, just calling out a name and then your opponent not being able to play it for the entire duel. It's pretty good. A lot of people thought this card was also going to be good back when the set was initially released. It was more actually a sleeper card, actually. Secret rare, difficult to get your hands on, but it has seen some play throughout the years, actually, in side decks. Just a pretty decent card overall. Mischief of Yokai is another card that saw some play in Burning Abyss format, being able to boost up your opponent's Burning Abyss monster levels so they can't make their Dantes and stuff. This was a really good strategy. Mischief of Yokai was an option to do that. There was better ones, I think, but Mischief of Yokai was definitely one of them. And it being an Ultra and Ultimate rare in none other than Starstrike Blast, difficult to get your hands on. And then as for some of the imports, of course, Dragoonity Knight, Vajrayana, Gaydirk, amazing cards, definitely timeless cards. Vajrayana didn't get its reprint for the longest time. I don't think Gaydirk's actually gotten its reprint. Oh, it has, actually. Duel Saga, I think, but not Duel Saga. Battle Light's Revenge, I think, was the set that Gaydirk finally got its reprint, and Vajrayana got its reprint a little bit before that, but for the longest time, Vajrayana was like a $20 super rare. It made Dragoonities what it was, probably the best card in Dragoonities, I think a lot of people would say, and Gaydirk has just playability. It was good in Dragoonities, and of course, we talked about Genix Ally Duradark in yesterday's video, oddly, a played card in Starstrike Blast, but for the most part, I think I hit pretty much all of them. It took a while to go through this whole list, just because there's so many good cards in this list. It wasn't initially like this, though. A lot of the cards that I'm talking about, like Vanity's Emptiness, Jewel and Lockbird, a lot of these cards weren't initially sought out as amazing, but this has just been one of the more timeless sets in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where somehow, some way, cards keep coming back and being good. Heatwave's another one, actually, now that I think about it. There's just so many cards in this set. I wouldn't call it really the best set in Yu-Gi-Oh! As I do think there's another set that is just probably a little bit more powerful, a little bit more game-changing, but Starstrike Blast is definitely without question, I think, the most timeless set of all time, just constantly releasing really good cards. So hopefully you guys have gotten just a taste of how good Starstrike Blast has gotten over the years. Cards like Vanity's Emptiness, Jewel and Lockbird, even cards like, I don't know, Formula Synchron Glow Up Ball. These are all cards that have stood the test of time. Let me know what you guys think of Starstrike Blast, and do you guys think that there's another set in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's possibly more timeless than Starstrike Blast? I'd love to hear what you guys think.
That's all, folks.
If you guys liked the video, be sure to like the video. Thumbs up the video, how much best you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please do consider subscribing to my channel, where I'm uploading regularly. And that being said, if you guys liked it, like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Nim Nim signing out.